What is going on, Cosmic Crew? Thanks for stopping by the channel. Today, we're going to be going over a rumored plot leak for Avengers Doomsday that talks specifically about the conflict between Doctor Doom and Loki, or the story that's going to happen in Avengers Doomsday between the two of them, which if you kind of zoom out and take a look at kind of the broader things that are happening in Avengers Doomsday, because a lot is happening in Avengers Doomsday, but if you zoom out for a bit, we can kind of see that it really is going to come down to Doom and Loki, because Loki is holding the multiverse together right now, and Doom is kind of seeking, well, to do what he wants with the multiverse. We have heard that in the beginning he's going to be viewed as a hero. He will see himself as a hero. Is he actually trying to save the multiverse, or is he trying to shape it to be exactly what he wants it to be? I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I think Doom at first will try to save it, then he'll realize that he can't save it and try to do his own thing. And according to what we're going to go over here, Loki might actually try to do the same, but make it kind of how he wants it to be. It turns out Loki might be controlling a little bit more than we thought. It's really interesting. We're going to dive into this. It also talks about the comic of Avenger Prime. Loki being Avenger Prime, who puts together a multiversal team of Avengers and fights against Doctor Doom. Literally fights against Doctor Doom. It's basically what we're going to see here. So it's really exciting. We'll get into it. Let's dive first into the beginning of this. So this is coming from the YouTube channel Cineyun. It is a Hindi channel, I believe, and this is what they have to say. The Loki season 2 finale wasn't just emotional, it was a warning. When Loki grabs the dying timelines, weaves them into a living tree, and places himself at the center, Yggdrasil, the god of mischief ceases to exist. He becomes the only being who can see the entire multiverse at once. And that's the scary part. And throwback to the ending of Loki season 2, I thought that was just amazing. But it's true, the god of mischief does cease to exist. I do believe through Loki season 1 and season 2, we just saw like a huge change in Loki, which is very important for what we're about to talk about later, the big change in Loki. But yeah, he's not the god of mischief anymore. This Loki is different than all of the other Lokis, right? This would be the Prime Loki, who I do believe is going to basically be Avenger Prime. But going more into it, it says, if someone like Doom moves between shadows and timelines, Loki would be the first to spot him. Loki is literally holding every reality in his hands. And yes, based on what we saw at the end of Loki season 2, where he was looking into the timeline that Mobius was on when he was there, Loki can see into every single branch that is attached to him, that he is keeping alive. It continues and says, now look at Marvel Comics. There's a redeemed Loki variant known as Avenger Prime. He stands at the heart of creation, not on a throne, but carrying responsibility, bringing heroes from different realities together to stop multiversal threats like Doom Supreme. The MCU is already showing the damage: incursions, collapsing worlds, reality tears, and characters crossing universes. If the multiverse is breaking and Loki sees everything, would he just watch, or would he control the chaos? So again, right now, this is basically what is happening. We know Loki is attached to these branches, and we know that Doom is going to be going in and out of them. One report that we heard in the past that I really like, and this is also coming from a page in the comics, it's coming from Secret Wars, but also Time Runs Out, the story that goes right into Secret Wars, the Library of Worlds. That's Doom's base camp, and it exists outside of space and time, right? So not in a universe. Loki can't see him there. But what it is basically a portal that has a gateway to any universe basically out there. So Doom, you can't see him when he's in the Library of Worlds, but when he goes into these different timelines, Loki can see him. And I think Loki's going to start to pick up on the fact that there's a guy going in and out of the multiverse and going to a bunch of random different timelines. And then where I think it starts to become a real problem in Loki's eyes is where he sees this particular Doctor Doom go to his brother, Thor, and then go to Captain America, because we've heard from insiders like My Time to Shine Low that in that Fantastic Four ship that's in the post-credit scene for the Thunderbolts that arrives in the Earth 616 universe from 828, according to this report from My Time to Shine Low, Thor, Doom, and Captain America are on that ship. So you have a Doom who seemingly goes to get Thor, his brother, That's going to catch Loki's attention. Then he goes to get Captain America, who already did some stuff that might be considered not too okay with Loki and the TVA. And then they go to the Fantastic Four. That's already 3 different universes. And then they go to the 616 universe. That's definitely catching Loki's eye, especially because it's the Avengers that he knows. So from there, Loki is probably going to start to view Doom as a threat. He's up to something clearly. And then when he tries to get everybody to go against each other, that's when Loki is most likely going to assemble his team, which of course is going to be Deadpool, Wolverine, X-23, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. We've actually been hearing a lot of reports that the TVA is going to be saving people, basically. And that's where this next part is going. We will get to that in just a bit. But first, big thank you to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. FlexiSpot sent me their E7 standing desk. And I've had other standing desks in the past, and there's a problem with them. They're not that sturdy, but the E7 FlexiSpot desk is said to be a lot sturdier. So when I started to unpack this, I immediately noticed that the materials were really heavy and it just seemed like they were made better. I did notice it is a really strong and sturdy desk, and it can handle up to 440 pounds. On top of it, I jumped on it and it was fine. It wasn't wobbling at all. A big problem I've always had is I put mic stands on my desk. They're attached to the desk, so if I move or hit the desk at all, they wobble. The same thing goes with monitors. But this one has dual motors. Each leg has a motor, and they are incredibly sturdy. And it goes from 22.8 inches to 48.4 inches in height. They have a 15-year warranty and a 30 days risk-free return service. So if you're looking for a new standing desk, this is by far the best one that I have personally owned, and I've owned a few of them. Head to the link in my description to check out FlexiSpot's E7 standing desk, the best desk that I have personally ever owned. So here's the twist that it goes on to say. It literally says, here's the twist. Loki may be creating a controlled crisis. He could be forcing timeline collisions so the right champions end up in the same reality before everything collapses. He ignites the war to stop a bigger one. That's how the Fantastic Four and X-Men could enter the MCU. Thrones won't defeat Doom. Only a united multiversal team can. Loki isn't ruling, he's calculating the next phase. Now, I agree with all of this basically, but the fact that Loki isn't ruling, no, that is like the exact opposite of what Loki set out to do when he took on that throne. He literally took on the throne and the branches because he's physically giving those branches life. If you go back and you watch the ending of Loki season 2, the branches are dying. They specifically say that when Loki grabs it, it comes to life. When he lets go, it dies. So he grabs them all, gives them life, and essentially gives birth to a multiverse that he's attached to. So he's not ruling. He's doing the opposite. He is literally letting free will reign throughout the multiverse, as opposed to what Kang did. He pruned everything and there was one universe. And Loki does know, because he sees it all happening, that the universe, that the multiverse is collapsing. He could literally probably feel it since he is attached to everything. And I do think there gets to a point of no return, basically. And I think both Doom and Loki see this. However, I think they both have very different thoughts about how to go about what they should do next. Now, Loki making sure everybody is together, the best of the heroes, that makes a lot of sense, and that's how we would get Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man with the X-Men, with the Avengers, and like we've heard reports that, you know, Ghost Rider's gonna have a cameo, stuff like that. That's how they could all come together. Because keep in mind, this is Doomsday. I'm expecting a ton of different characters and cameos in Secret Wars because it's Battle World, a world that consists of a bunch of different universes thrown together. But in Doomsday, I don't think we're going to have as much, but I do think we start to see many universes come together and some variants come together. Ultimately, we know, though, they're not stopping Doom. Doom's going to win and Battle World is going to be created. I do question, though, at the end, how everybody views what Doom is about to do, because we've already heard things like Doctor Strange actually agrees with Doom, and that's how it is in the comics as well. And time runs out in Secret Wars. Doctor Strange, he sides with Doctor Doom because he believes what he's doing is better than letting everything die. Will Loki think the same way? I don't think so, because I think Loki will also be able to see other Doom variants and see that Doom typically isn't the best guy and has ulterior motives and thinks that he basically should be ruling everything, which is how we're going to get God Emperor Doom eventually in Avengers Secret Wars on Battleworld. But Loki is going to be the direct conflict to Doom because he sees everything that Doom is trying to do, and vice versa. Doom knows that Loki is sitting on that throne, kind of in his eyes, in Doom's eyes, Loki is controlling everything. The throne is Loki ruling. And honestly, the Avengers are probably going to think that as well until the Multiversal Avengers team shows up and convinces them of everything. And I do think we're going to have a really cool moment with Loki and Thor, which I'm super looking forward to. And I even hope there's a moment in the TVA or something with magic where Loki actually shows Thor everything he did, right? From escaping with the Tesseract and then going to the TVA, everything he did at the end with He Who Remains, and then everything he did in Loki season 2. I hope Thor gets to see that. And I hope it's a really touching moment between brothers, because I think that would be pretty cool. But Loki creating a controlled crisis, I really like, because I do think we get to a point of no return. And eventually Loki says, okay, well, if it's all coming down, I'm going to make it come down in a very strategic way to where we can defeat Doom. And even if we lose, maybe we could avenge the multiverse, right? It's Avengers. And maybe we could fix it after. I think that's actually going to be a lot of people's thought process. Maybe they could fix it after. If we can't stop it, let's survive it and then try to figure it out after it happens. I think that's the point we get to at the end, because Doom actually does kind of kick Loki off that throne. I think that's what this comes down to. So again, obviously there's so much that happens in this movie with the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Wakandans, the Talikans, Dr. Doom manipulating everybody. But if we zoom out, it really will be about Doom trying to get Loki's throne. And I really like the idea of Loki almost realizing, because he is attached to everything, that they can't save it, but they can manipulate it in a way that's advantageous for them. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what this is talking about as well. And it does make Loki kind of Avengers Prime. Avenger Prime, getting multiversal heroes together to go against Doom, who eventually will be God Emperor Doom. So I'm here for this. I like it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel news, specifically Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man, of course. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.